I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heather, would you please take roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Lasky. Here. Mayor Sullivan.
Here.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Here.
Councilmember Ruzga.
Here.
City Manager.
Here.
City Attorney.
Here.
DPW Director.
Here.
Finance Director.
Here.
Community Development Director.
Yes, here.
Police Chief.
Here.
Fire Chief.
Here.
City Engineer.
Here.
Roll call complete.
Thank you. Disclosure of conflict of interest. Any council member with a conflict of interest regarding an agenda item should disclose it at this time. Public hearings, we have none. Citizens comment on agenda-related items. Any citizen with correspondence to be distributed to council should provide items to city clerk prior to the start of the meeting or after the meeting has adjourned, limited to 5 minutes. Anybody on the agenda? Okay. Consent agenda. All items marked with an asterisk are considered by city manager to be routine matters. Prior to approval, any member of council may have an item removed and taken up during the regular portion of the meeting. Items include approval of minutes, payroll, invoices, consideration of the 2026 Labor Fest event, consideration of tight lines for troops, charity, veterans event, consideration of the first annual Dune Jam event. At this time, council could take action to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
Heather, would you please take roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Lasky.
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Ruzga.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Consideration of resolution adopting the proposed City of Manistee Master Plan. Planning Commission has been working on developing a new master plan since 2024. The city engaged Williams and worked to develop the Manistee Master Plan on June 18th, 2024. On December 23rd, 2025, the plan was released for the 60-day review and comment period, and the public hearing was noticed. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on March 5th, 2026, where they adopted the plan and are recommending final approval by City Council. At this time, Council could take action to authorize the City Clerk to sign a resolution adopting the proposed City of Manistee Master Plan. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Guess, I'm just curious when it will be available for online viewing?
I made a little slide presentation.
Oh,
once.
Good.
Um,
And congratulations
oh,
for,
thank you.
for a big job.
Short answer to that, though, is relatively quickly. The next step would be we send it out back to that distribution list as a notice of adoption, and then we post it on the website. Yeah. Oh, I need the clicker. It's down. This is a similar presentation that I brought back when I brought the draft plan forward, but essentially just a recap. The purpose of the master plan is to guide the city where we see our future development going, where we see our land use in the future, taking in community input for where the community sees that going, and then I kind of say, create a unified vision. Again, the Michigan Planning Enabling Act requires that it be reviewed every 5 years. We meet the requirement of doing so, and then RRC, I have on a different slide, asks that we do that annually. To recap the timeline, this started back February 2024 when we received a grant from MISHDA, which we used to put forward to the new master plan update. We sent out an RFP in March of 2024 and then reviewed proposals through June. Selected Williams and Works to recommend for the update. Fast forward to November of this past year, the Planning Commission and you all received the draft plan, which was sent into the public review period. Sent into the public review period in December. Those were mailed out to a distribution list. I've got the list on another slide if you want to look it over, essentially neighboring municipalities as well as utility partners. We took feedback through February, and then in March, February, we sent out notices for the public hearing, which was held in March, and this could be adopted now through early April, hopefully. A bit of updates on the review process. We did not receive any comments during the public hearing. I received one piece of correspondence, which was attached here and shared with the Planning Commission for review. Edits prior to the review period came from council and department heads. I also got feedback from Katie at the County Planning Department. Those were incorporated as we saw best fit. The sort of Excel spreadsheet that you got outlines all of those edits and then the action that was taken between myself and the consultant. As far as grammar and spelling, that was another thing that came up with the draft. I marked up a document and shared that with the consultant. This can be a working document moving forward, so anything that comes up in terms of spelling and grammar errors can be handled administratively. Couple examples of feedback that we incorporated. Blight was only mentioned once. This was something that came from the county. So we included that under our housing goals, cleaning up neighborhoods and addressing blight. The social district wasn't mentioned, so we included this with the downtown and River Street improvements, just sort of continuing to support. The Gateway project was also not mentioned, so that was added as well under downtown. And then a couple of language clarifications. I just included one as an example. Man-made lake came up a couple times for a couple different things. Eventually, the decision we made was to tweak the language around the lake access, as well as including Pitcher's Thistle, which was not mentioned in the prior draft. Next steps, I kind of covered this already, but ideally the Planning Commission will review this annually and see where progress has been made on some of these goals. This is an RRC best practice, so this is something that we will document and share with them. Grammar and spelling can be handled by myself and the Community Development Department. Another thing is the dates you will see are not permanent. Those will be updated as the plan is formally adopted. And then here's the distribution list. And so they were shared with an intent to plan, invited to provide review. They were invited to the public hearing, and they will be given notice of adoption as well. And that's all I got.
Any questions?
You did a good job.
Thank you.
And I would encourage, probably everybody in this room has read it, but if anybody's watching, it is available on our website. It is, how many pages is it? It's about 60.
It's 160, but the
Yeah.
beach master plan
Was
and the
included
public
in it.
participation
But
plan
the
take up
comments,
a lot of it.
goals, and the things that the people said are very worthwhile reading. So I would encourage anybody, because it is, we are going to try to utilize, follow it. So, you know, and any comments, just contact any one of us. So it's worth reading.
Okay, thanks, Maddie.
Yes, thank
Heather, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Ruzga.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski. Mayor Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilmember Lasky. Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Consideration of a resolution supporting the creation of the Manistee Emergency Response Fire Agency Fire District. Public Act 57 of 1988 authorizes 2 or more municipalities to incorporate an authority or district for the purpose of providing emergency services. In 2024, City Council made the fire district a priority. Chief Herndon began working with other local municipalities on the formation of the Manistee Emergency Response Fire Agency Fire District, MERFA. At the time, MERFA would promote efficient delivery of fire and emergency response services, enhance staffing and response capabilities, and improve training opportunities to ensure sustainable long-term operations in the greater Manistee area. This resolution of support authorizes the allocation of $5,000 and 2 members to support a steering committee that will represent the city's interests concerning the formation of MERFA. At this time, council could take action to authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign a resolution supporting participation in the creation of the Manistee Emergency Response Fire Agency Fire District. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I want to know, Chief, where, any information, I mean, this is only the starting point, I realize. What is going to be the millage to each township? And where's that going to come in?
Yeah, so that's what the steering committee is doing. So what we're doing is we're having, typically it's like bi-monthly meetings. And what we're doing is we're coming up with a funding formula to describe exactly how we're going to do that. We don't have a set budget right now. We don't have a set millage or whatever, what it's going to cost. We're working on that with our partners and the people that are coming into the steering committee.
Okay, and you're gonna be discussing the union people that work for the city compared to the volunteers that are in all the other townships.
Yeah, when it comes to forming this district and coming in, that is part of what the steering committee is doing, is we're sitting down and we're talking about the impacts of it, how it would have with the existing employees and the new employees that we are intending to hire. Yes, everyone's included into that.
Who are the two of the steering committee?
The two on the currently right now we're meeting, it's myself, Mr. Gamble, and Mr. Bradford is actually coming in
Okay.
periodically as we get into more of the financial discussions.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
I met with Chief, and I'm not going to speak for you, but it was very worthwhile. I think you'd probably be open if anybody had any questions to just call or stop by. It was very worthwhile. He's very knowledgeable.
Yeah, anybody who would want some further follow-up on any discussions anytime is always welcome to stop by and see me.
Okay. Ready? Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Heather, would you please take roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Lasky.
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes,
Councilmember Rezga.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Consideration of ordinance 26-01 to amend Chapter 650 Anti-Blight and Chapter 606 Animals and repeal Chapter 415 Open Storage of Disabled, Inoperable, Junked, and Abandoned Motor Vehicles and Chapter 1454 Dangerous, Unsightly, or Unsanitary Conditions of the City of Manistee, Michigan Codified Ordinances. The Ordinance Committee worked with the city attorney, police chief, and code enforcement officials to recommend updates to the city's anti-blight ordinance and updates to related chapters. Highlights of the proposed updates include changes regarding domestic animal nuisance conditions, inoperable motor vehicles, junk boats or boat equipment, and clarification of terms garbage, rubbish, and junk. The goal of these updates is to improve compliance and clearer standards for the property maintenance in the city. As an ordinance, 2 separate readings are required. If this ordinance is introduced at this time, it could be adopted at the next regular meeting. At this time, council could take action to introduce ordinance 26-01. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Well, the one thing mentioned, and maybe I read it wrong, that boats cannot be stored more than 3 months. Does that mean, like, I know a lot of people shrink wrap their boats around here for the winter and leave them in the yard, so that will no longer be allowed, or?
It was related to they have to be actively working on it, I think was more of the intent. There has to be a plan to fix the boat. So you can't just leave a junk boat out in perpetuity. You have to have basically, our code enforcement official would come approach them and just say, hey, what's your plan? Is it eventually going to be fixed? What's your timeline? And just work towards making sure there's some sort of resolution with it's not just going to sit there inoperable, is the idea.
But is that compared to having a car sitting on the street for 3 months too?
Right, we want to see them fix items up, and yeah, what's the plan with it going forward? It just can't sit there, is the idea.
If I may, Councilmember Grabowski, on a public road, state law prohibits
Right.
that. So that's governed under state law, where this will be governed under city ordinance. The
But
distinction.
why are we allowing them 3 months on the boats? And then, I mean, we're doing what the state law says. I mean, I issued the tickets before, I know.
The boats are on private property, and state law doesn't dictate what on private property. State law dictates it on public roadway. So this recommendation is based on what we've seen in the community, and is tailored more towards junk boats, so to speak.
I guess maybe that's some clarification, because I believe it said that the boats have to be licensed, but a non-motorized boat doesn't need to be licensed, like a canoe, for example. I mean, I can see why somebody, I mean, I'm confused reading that portion, because, you know, number one, my boat sits without a cover for longer than 3 months because it's wintertime and I'm not using it, but it's certainly usable, and I use it. The same thing with my kayak and my canoe that sit outside. So
Yeah.
I don't want to be in violation, so,
But it says junk boats and equipment.
Yeah, so it's really that unless corrective repairs are in process or have been scheduled. So if you kind of, so you're approached, hey, are you working on this boat? You know, you say, well, I have a plan to work on it next month, so you just have to be in the state of repairing it or bringing it into, so it just can't sit there.
kind of like an obvious disarray kind of thing, is
Right.
what you're
Yeah,
saying.
and this comes from complaints we've had from community members as well as council members over.
Yeah, I agree, it's
you're saying.
good, it's good, need it,
So,
yeah.
and I know the ordinance committee did a great bit of work, and so did Tim Ball was here today, did a great bit of work to try to tailor that towards, some regulations in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's common sense. It's just like a lot of law enforcement. You're not going to ticket my boat in my backyard that's shrink wrapped for 6 months because it's
Right.
beautiful winter in the middle of
Yeah.
March. But if Miss Rosca has a boat it's got a hole in the hull or the outdrive's out and half the engine's out, yeah, let's ticket that thing.
Deservedly.
Right, not your kayaks or your canoes.
Okay.
Discretion is the key, I think.
That's what I wanted to be sure of, okay.
Are we good on this one? Might as well stay there, chief. Heather, would you please take roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Lasky. Mayor Sullivan.
Yes,
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Rezga.
Yes.
Motion approved.
thank you. Now we will have a report from Chief Glass.
He's running. We have a runner.
All right, here we go. Well, thank you for the opportunity to give a presentation. Every year, this is a difficult presentation because every year, the men and women of our police department do a tremendous job, and I know you know that. And trying to whittle this down to 15 minutes, to be respectful of time, is quite a challenge. So I'm very proud of them, as I know you guys are. Let's get to it here. So let's talk about staffing changes in 2025. Officer Dave Shands, we had a retirement ceremony here. Dave Shands, a longtime officer with the Manistee City Police Department, very knowledgeable. He retired this year. Probably one thing we miss most about him is his personality, a very jovial personality. Evelyn Slavinsky. So Evelyn Slavinsky came to us from the DPW. We used the employee recruitment program to hire him, send him to police academy. He did a tremendous job in the police academy, and he's almost through with his field training program. So everything I hear from his trainers, he's doing a tremendous job. Person of great character. A new face this year, right around July, we hired Tim Ball, our code enforcement officer. We're going to talk a little bit about blight enforcement and some of the impact he's had. But again, a new face to the city of Manistee. Most notably, his people skills, common sense when using enforcement. So, and we'll get into it a little later. But that's a new face this year. Now, someone I want to talk about who, unfortunately, I haven't talked about enough in previous years. Mary Dilworth. She's our confidential secretary. And so, for all of you who work in organizations where you have a central office, you know the person who runs the office kind of keeps everything together. And I have been in the wrong in previous years not talking about her enough. She's a part-time secretary, and she is the face of the organization when you walk in the police department door. And this is just a list of her job functions. She does a tremendous amount. Sometimes I'm amazed at how much she does with the time that she works. But again, she's a confidential secretary, receptionist, timesheets, invoice, data, all the state requirements she does. Anything from registering sex offenders, registering firearms, to registering golf carts. She's the first step for FOIA for the police department. Sometimes I wonder how she gets it all done, but again, she is kind of the glue that holds the police department together. When the chief is out trying to do 12 things at once, or we're overlooking some things, she kind of keeps us in line, so to speak. So she does a great job, and we're very fortunate to have her. Let's talk about statistics. Dispatch complaints. I've got a 3-year comparison here. 55, 61 from the previous year. Self-initiated is down a little bit from previous years. Tickets are up a little bit. Arrests are down by 10. Accidents are so relatively flat as far as statistics. I like to use dispatch complaints. Dispatch complaints are when someone calls 911 and needs a police officer. By policy, police organizations can regulate when there's written complaints. So I think it's important. I don't control when people call 911, so I think it's a true and accurate reflection of the needs of the community, not written complaints. Understand this too is the more bodies you have, the higher the service, right? So in 2023, and I think in 22 and 21, we saw a big fluctuation because of staffing issues, right? So the more staff you have, the more work you can do, the higher level of service you can provide. I've got this broken down. I don't want to bore you too much with details, but I've got broken down last year and this year, crimes against property. Just some changes. There's a little bit of uptick in larcenies, and it looks like there's a downtick in damage to property. And so later in the presentation, I don't think I've done this before. I pulled out 5 notable events, and we'll kind of go through them. But as far as crimes against property, relatively flat. And I don't have any philosophy or tactics to tell you how we deterred 10 complaints from the previous year. Understand as we go through statistics, these are as the people report them. So if you call and say your car was stolen, and I come to find out your car was towed by someone, a repo company, or you lent it to a girlfriend, that's not reflected. It's still reflected here as a stolen vehicle. Does that make sense? Yep. Crimes against person. Our sexual assaults remain relatively flat. It's kind of a hidden statistic and a very difficult one to talk about, but our detective handles the majority of our sexual assaults, and we have a significant number, in my mind, of sexual assaults that we investigate. Again, these are crimes as they're reported. And then we have a slight uptick in assaults. That assault can be a simple assault, a domestic assault. It kind of encompasses all of that. So relatively flat statistically from 24 and 25. So some notable events. I've asked staff just to grab a handful of events we want to talk about. And so as you can see, in 2025 started off with a terrible tragedy, loss of life. And our detective led an investigation that included a number of different agencies, the Tribal Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, the State Police, MSP ICAC, MSP Crime Lab, all their support services, to run a well-organized investigation that was determined to murder-suicide. Again, it was a tragic loss of life to start the year off with, but it is a good example of major incidents in this county require multiple law enforcement agencies to collaborate on. It's very difficult in this area of the state for one law enforcement agency to do it all, especially when you have a major crime. So, like I said, although it's a very tragic loss of life, I'm proud of the men and women in the investigation they led. You saw the US 31 bridge jumper, you saw an award be commended this summer. So we pulled that. Why I want to highlight that is, number one, you're going to hear a theme throughout this and my last slide about mental health in this community. But again, we had an individual on the 31 bridge who was dead set they were going to jump off. And our officers used good tactics and extraction windows to grab the individual and to bring them to safety without anyone getting hurt. And so you have people putting their safety on the line for the safety of someone else. The third item there, we had an individual reported stealing 2 motor vehicles in a matter of a couple days. Also stealing from motor vehicles, damaging numerous motor vehicles in the Reese Park area. Our officers were very quickly able to identify a suspect, make an arrest, which led to a subsequent conviction. The property was turned back to the rightful owners. So a successful conclusion of that type of case. The next UDA I want to talk about is, oddly enough, happened on Slavo weekend. You know, when things happen, they happen at the worst possible time, right? So we had an individual was dispatched stealing a vehicle. Our sergeant went head-to-head past that individual, turned around, made a traffic stop, engaged the individual. It became a violent encounter. If it wasn't for 3 pedestrians at Wesco who jumped in to help the sergeant, that could have been a very tragic event. It was later determined that subject was suffering from mental health issues, but we were able to eventually get that subject into custody, get them to the jail, get property back to the owner. Next one is a major CSC, again led by our detective Kirsten Goodspeed, and other agencies such as the Sheriff's Office and MSP ICAC team, Internet Crimes Against Children. We're able to complete an investigation which led to the arrest of a subject, 13 counts of criminal sexual conduct, first degree, 13 counts of child sexually abusive material, and 6 counts of using a computer to commit a crime. So a pretty significant event, a very thorough investigation, which has led to prosecution. I think many of you are aware of the dog case on Maple Street. Why we wanted to highlight that is our officers obtaining a search warrant, conducting an investigation which included the removal of animals in unsafe, unsanitary conditions. That investigation led to the arrest of the individual. We relied on the Sheriff's Office, and I believe it was Benzie or Wexford County Animal Control as well that had to come over and help us with the removal of those animals. So again, proactive measures by our police department from an animal cruelty standpoint, having successful prosecution for animal cruelty, and now that's being investigated and handled from a blight situation. And then the last one that we wanted to highlight is the Davis Street incident. We had a situation on Davis Street with one of the residents, had a court petition, had exhibited some signs of violence, and we were able to deploy police tactics with a little bit of creativity to take a potentially violent situation to a peaceful conclusion and take that person into custody and transport them where they need to go. So again, just a handful of incidents from this year to highlight. Grants. We were very fortunate in 2025 to secure funding through several grants. Local revenue sharing, we were able to secure $27,000 or over $27,000 for basically security infrastructure upgrades for the city of Manistee. You're all very aware of that. But in the same year, we were able to secure over $20,000 for body-worn cameras. So we were able to get both those grants in the same year for significant upgrades for our equipment. The Public Safety Academy grant, that is a grant through the state of Michigan. We have been fortunate in the past to utilize that for our employee recruits, and we were able to secure that at the end of 25, beginning of 26, for our employee recruit who's currently attending the police academy now. That grant goes towards wages and tuition, which would otherwise come out of budgetary expenses. I don't know how long they're gonna have those monies available. So for all the elected officials in the room, it's very important that if you get the ear of a senator or congressman, those funds are very important. We've hired our last 5 employees utilizing these funds. And so it costs anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to hire a candidate and to send them to the police academy for wages and tuition. And we have really relied on grant funds other than budgetary funds. So I would rely on the elected officials in the room to keep banging that drum as far as continuing those funds, especially for small town departments. I don't want to speak too much for the sheriff's office, but they've utilized those funds as well. A lot of organizations, police departments, especially smaller ones, have really relied on those funds as opposed to trying to use budgetary funds. Then we were able to utilize a Michigan Works apprenticeship program to fund 2 apprentices, again, towards tuition and wages. It's a creative program. It aligns perfectly with an employee going to the police academy and going through an FTO program, so it fits well. So again, able to identify some creative solutions to budgetary restraints. And then actually, the last one, the Talent and Growth Barrier Removal Initiative, Chief Herman brought this to my attention, where employees were able to qualify up to $1,000 to purchase equipment that helps them do their jobs, that removes the barriers for their jobs. So again, a creative grant brought to my attention by the fire chief that our employees absolutely utilized. I don't know if it's ever going to come around again, but they were able to get things that we couldn't provide them with our budget. So I think it's worth noting on grants. So let's talk about community outreach. We're very proud of our community outreach. You know, every year we try to push more and more of what can we do for our community. Kids Safety Day is kind of a staple for us. Every year it seems to grow. I think the last year was over 400 participants. We have, I couldn't even tell you how many organizations were there, but there are a lot. Every year there's more and more. So I think it's a big deal for this community. It's a great way for us to have positive interactions with our young people and to kind of kick the summer off right for our kids and their parents. And that, for those who haven't attended that the presenters there are, we ask they present anything safety, whether it be water safety, body safety, boat safety, anything safety that we can provide to parents and kids, we ask that we do so. And we kind of cover the whole range. So we're very proud of that. I know a lot of communities do something very similar, and we plan to continue that. Shop with the Hometown Hero, participated that again this year. The Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Brian Gutowski, spearheaded that. As you can see there, Safety Pup and Sparky. 2 volunteers, they did a tremendous job. Great job interacting with young people. This is a wonderful event, not just for this community, but as far as having law enforcement, firefighters, Hometown Heroes having positive interactions with people in the public. That's something we can't overlook ever. National Wear Life Jacket to Work Day. The Coast Guard and the police department go out raising awareness. It's just a good reason to get out in the public and talk to people and promote water safety. Simple as that. We do it everywhere. City Hall, the courthouse. I think I had a picture of Safety Pup getting wanded and frisked by the bailiffs. So any opportunity we can to get out in the public and talk to them about safety or just have positive interaction, we're going to take advantage of. Something new, community outreach, picnic in the park. So with the Parks Commission, I think we had a wonderful event, raising awareness in the community of our beautiful parks, and again, promoting positive interactions with law enforcement. I think we had a pretty good turnout there. I thought it was a great event and something we hope to build on in the future. And then a couple other things. We conduct presentations at the Wagner Center. Those presentations are anything from elder fraud to driving with dementia. We presented at the Primetime Living Expo, we're present at recruiting events, we're also present at Kids Safety Day. So anytime we can, that our staffing allows it, we want to have outreach in our community and have positive interactions with people. Our school program. So we don't have a school resource officer in this community, so we have school liaisons. What that means is you have a police officer assigned to each building. And the expectation is they check in at that building each shift. So we call them liaisons. And some of the things that we do is we do the state mandated lockdown secure modes with the school. This year we've done probably a record number of tabletop exercises at each MAPS building. I know we've done at least 2 tabletops, I think, at each building. And this year we've done reunification tabletop at the building. So again, MAPS is the one that really has to request that, and we're more than happy to come in and work any tabletop exercise with them. I have told them, if you need, we'll give you 15 minutes or 3 hours. You tell us what you need, and we're there to fulfill that. So very important as far as what we can do as a police department to help foster a safe environment in our schools. So all we have to do is be invited. School Safety Committee meeting, regular meetings every other month. Law enforcement officials, school administrators get together, talk about issues, work them through different areas of school safety. Our officers teach water safety presentations in every school in the city. All we have to do is be invited. And then continued collaboration. Things come up like a new building, traffic flow issues. We have a high commitment to our school and to be with them to collaborate any issues that we have that might arise. So again, all we have to do is be invited. Let's talk about blight. We talked about Tim Ball earlier, and I've got some blight stats here. And so this represents the enforcement statistics. As you can see, it's broken down by category. And I want to say some things. So one of the strengths I think Tim has is his ability to talk to people. And ability to get compliance through means other than citation. So when we're talking about blight enforcement, what we want is compliance, right? And so his ability to get the majority of people to comply without writing tickets or have to take them to court, he's done a great job. I commend his communication skills, his ability to work with people. As you can imagine, as we've talked about for years, there's different reasons behind blight. So it might be the people financially can't do it, it might be they refuse to do it, but again, using our code enforcement's discretion to determine what the best possible path towards success is compliance. So I think the stat is, I think Tim only wrote 9 tickets in 2025, as opposed to a previous code enforcement officer. But it's a difference in philosophy. We want to get to the same place, he's taking a different vehicle to get there. So I think he's been very successful. He has participated in a lot of policy meetings, or excuse me, ordinance meetings. Worked with the zoning department in the off season, as we call it, to help rental inspections and other needs they have. So there's the stats: 126 total cases, 108 closed, resolved. Picture's worth 1,000 words. I just grabbed just a few of these. Give you an idea, although I know you know what kind of blight we deal with. Here's some before and after shots that Tim's responsible for. It might be trash, it might be overgrown. Again, overgrown. Junk in the side of the house. This is some of the things before and after that we've dealt with. All right, accomplishments. Again, we're kind of cherry picking accomplishments here to be respectful of time. Sergeant Doug Van Sickle completed his level 1 command training. It was 1 day a month. Make sure I get this right. I think it's 1 day a month for 10 months. It's a long training, talks about things, supervisory issues, leadership, use of force issues. It's a big commitment from us and for him. We're very proud of him to give him the tools to meet the expectations of his job. UAS program, if you remember last year, we talked about how we secured funding for UAS, which is a drone. We were able to get that program off the ground with the fire department. That's a partnership type program, the fire department and the police department. And I will tell you, we're very fortunate to have that off the ground. We've had a lot of successful cases, more so with the fire department, and locating lost individuals, getting a bird's eye view on people. So we've had successful deployments. And then I listed this for the first time that I've seen, Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards. So the organization, state of Michigan, that licenses police departments and police officers, they are doing random audits, or they would call them assessments. This year we were chosen randomly for our assessment, and we fared very, very well, which is a credit to the men and women who work at the police department. Some of the areas they look at is policy compliance, interview room standards, training records, firearms, personnel, file records. So everything they require, either by statute, by their policy, they come in, they evaluate it, and we fared very, very well. Again, it's just a reflection of the great work the men and women do downstairs. Mental health. Again, if I had a slide here that would talk about challenges, mental health would be on there along with staffing, but we've seen a rise in mental health, certainly. I mean, you can look across the country and see that. Manistee is not excluded from that. And so we've got some deceptive statistics up here, right? I mean, tell you what I mean. We have 47 documented reports involving mental health. Well, that's not many. Well, we require a report to be written when someone is taken into custody and taken to the hospital. We interact with people who are suffering from mental illness on a regular basis. If you can go through some of these things here, it's the second highest overtime cost for the police department. And lastly there, it attributed almost half of our use of force incidents in 2025. And so when you look at the process, you say, well, Chief, how do the police get involved in mental health? How does that work? So when we interact with a subject who is suffering from mental illness, under the Michigan Mental Health Code, if we believe through our training experience that person is a danger to themselves or others, we could take that person into custody and take them to the hospital where a person who has more training, better qualified, screens them. And when they're screened, two things can happen. Either they are released to go back home, or they are recommended to go to a psychiatric ward. Sometimes that screening process takes hours or days. We've sat at the hospital for 5 days in a row, 24 hours a day, on patients waiting to find a bed. So you have a challenge from the mental health side, not only screening people, but finding beds. And beds are really part of the problem. So what happens is, what I mean by beds is, they're screened by a mental health professional, and it's deemed by the hospital doctor and the mental health worker that this person needs to go to a psychiatric facility. Well, now we have to find a bed. And once we identify that bed, we can get a petition from the judge to order that. That can take a long time. And if that person is violent, aggressive, our police officers are with them 24 hours a day. So, as you can imagine, as mental health rises, the need for our police, the process that is described, has risen as well. We have had 9 transports to different areas. We luck out sometimes, and we've lucked out in 25 that we only went out of state, I think, a few times. You know, it's sad when we think that going to Grand Rapids is a quick trip, but again, we're transporting that person from the hospital in handcuffs to a psychiatric ward. So what that means is we're taking those 2 police officers, or generally what happens, we have to call people in overtime, right? To keep our level of service in the city. And so 9 is actually down from the previous year. Again, this is a challenge for us. And so I meet monthly with mental health, I'll call them executives, leaders, to work solutions to this problem. The police are not the answer to this problem, but we can be part of that solution, at least. So I wanted to educate you on that challenge and what the process is as far as what does it look like when a police officer deals with someone who is in crisis. So again, my commitment to the city is working with the leaders, figuring out solutions that involve the police, but the police aren't the solution to that problem. Does that make sense? And those conversations are ongoing. Hopefully we have some tangible results. All right, and again, as always, thank you for your continued support. You guys have a very difficult job, and we appreciate the work you do. What questions do you have?
Wow. Do you have a question?
So I guess, along with the homeless, which sometimes is mental health, it sounds like the real problem is mental health in a lot of areas. And is it more people not taking their medicine, or just not having the ability to go to a doctor and get the appropriate And I know I'm putting you on the spot because there's probably no way you could possibly know that.
Well,
but I had a good guess.
We spend a lot of time in that world. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things. And so, you know, we get a lot of repeat patients. What does that mean? It means we think that you're a danger to yourself. Others take you to the hospital, they clear you. 2 weeks later, same thing. And it's kind of a filter roll. What I'm trying to work with mental health is finding out a solution. If someone's suffering from mental health, they probably aren't going to seek it on their own, so they're probably not going to leave their house and go to an appointment. So we're trying to work on, can we get mental health professionals in the field if it's a safe environment for them, similar to what we get like CPS or APS? If it's a safe environment, can we get that service there? One of the biggest challenges is substance use disorders, so drug use and mental health intertwined, and which one is it? So that, again, for the central wellness folks, that's a challenge for them to untangle those. You are correct. A lot of our homeless population deals with one or the other, right? So it's a combination. So it's challenging. Again, it's a human issue, so it's complicated, right? But again, I want to be part of the solution. The police department can't be the solution.
Joshua, whatever happened to the decision there a few years ago? I was reading some medical journals, and they talked about putting a mental health worker with a police officer, transferring these people.
That's a model. So that's a model that's out there. That's not a model of this part of the state. There are different proposed models out there. Some of the models are giving a police officer mental health training and having a mental health officer. Some bigger cities with bigger resources go to a full CIT model, and anywhere in between. So at this point, I'm willing to work with leadership from Central Wellness to figure out some type of solution so they can better provide services to this community.
But years ago, they used to tell us, just bring the person into the office and we'll take care of them, and sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't.
So I agree. They used to say that too, but we would bring them to the office. The first thing they want us to do is take them to the hospital to have them medically screened. As we've learned over the years, there are some physiological medical things that could mimic mental health symptoms. And it's taken me years to realize that, because I didn't think, I questioned that, but so we were told the same thing. Take them to the office during office hours and we can provide them services, but usually what we get is we'll take them to the hospital, make sure they're medically cleared, and we'll get involved. Again, the most important thing in Manistee County I found is a little bit rare. We meet regularly with law enforcement, the hospital, and mental health monthly. I didn't realize how rare that was until I talked to some folks from Muskegon and Grand Rapids, and some of those areas, maybe they're not talking as regularly. So that's where it all needs to start, and understanding, having open lines of communication, understanding who's responsible for what and who can positively impact the problem and who probably can't.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good job.
Real quick, I don't know if I have a chance later, but I know it's police and fire presentation, but I just want to give public kudos to our DPW. They did a tremendous job yesterday. It was absolutely amazing to what I was told it was and what I came home to. So again, I think we do a pretty good job holding people accountable, but I think I could do a better job of publicly commending people. And those folks worked, I think, 24 hours a day all yesterday and did a great job. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
Now we have a report from Chief Herndon.
Okay, Council, Mayor, Council. This is the Fire Department Annual 2025 presentation, and I'm excited to explain to you all of the work and all the responses that your firefighters did this past year. They worked really hard, had a lot of calls. We didn't have any injuries on duty, and I think that speaks volumes for the amount of work that they do and just staying safe in that. So really proud and excited to explain what your fire department did for you this past year. So our fire department, we divide up our responsibilities into 3 different categories. We have our prevention division, our EMS division, and our fire division. So this org chart here is just a way that I wanted to show to you all the different types of things that your fire department does. So on the prevention side, we divide that up into inspection type categories and prevention type categories. And our inspections do things as we do plan reviews for new buildings that are being built. And we also go through and inspect certain occupancies to make sure they're following different fire codes and those types of things. On the prevention side of things, we do different things like we do station tours where we invite people into our fire department. And we use that as an opportunity, that building, to do different types of fire prevention activities, and that teach them fire safe things, fire extinguisher demos, and those types of things. We also get outside of our building and we do things like school visits, and that where we teach the children different fire prevention things. And we attend many different programs like the Public Safety Day that we have in the summer that Chief Glass puts on. And we also have other things where we did our open house where we invite people in and use that as an opportunity to just teach safe practices and have safe habits around. I think that's a really big part of what the fire department does, because if we could prevent emergencies from happening, that's really the safest way to keep people, and it's really the most inexpensive way to take care of emergencies too. So also in our EMS division, that's a large part of what we do. That's about 80% of the call volume that we do. In our fire department, we staff a ALS, Advanced Life Support Ambulance, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we provide transport to the hospital at the highest level that is licensed here in the state of Michigan. We're able to do that at no out-of-pocket cost to the people that we run on. So our ambulance responses that we make for city residents, we only bill their insurance companies. We don't bill anything over and above that. So that's really great service that our residents enjoy. That. Then on the fire side, we respond to many different types of fire calls. We, structure fires, car fires, different types of brush fires and that, things that we respond to. And on the other side of that, we do something that we call like more still alarms, where we respond to car accidents, carbon monoxide alarms, wires down. Yesterday we had 6, 7 different wires down calls going on with that. And those are the different type of responses that your fire department does. Last year's incident count and types, so we were in 1,270 calls last year. 80% of those calls were EMS calls in nature. Our service calls are the calls like the wires downs, water emergencies, and those types of things. Good intent calls are calls that 911 fields, but when we actually get there, there's no actual emergency there. It's something that's just an investigatory thing. Hazmat calls, false alarm calls, and fire calls. Our fire calls last year, we ran 27 different types of structure fires. Those are actual fires, flames and that with the response. That was up slightly from last year. Last year was 22, this year we're at 27. Mutual aid. Mutual aid is a big part of what we do. Also, mutual aid represents 12.7% of our calls. The reason why mutual aid is important is when there is a structure fire, we need more firefighters than we have available to us here at the city. We run a staffing of 2 to 3 personnel per day in that, but when there is a structure fire, we require anywhere from 12 to 14 firefighters on duty to get there to help mitigate this emergency or to put out the fire. So that's why we rely on mutual aid. We have automatic aid with both Filer Township and Manistee Township. So whenever there's a fire call, there they go.
That was good timing.
Yeah.
Well played. Well played.
But that's the way that works. So in order to get those amount of firefighters there in a responsible time, we rely on that automatic aid. This past year, aid that our fire department received was 56% of the time, and aid that we gave was the 44% of the time. So with those partners, Filer Township, we helped them 20 times where they came into our city 17. Manistee Township, we went out to the township and helped their fire department for structure fires 21 times, and they came in and helped us 13 times. The big part of that is MMR, so they're our partner for ambulance transports when we're not available, and that they come into our city and transport our patients. So we went outside of the city and helped MMR 19 times, and they came in and helped us 63 times. So that's been a pretty big swing. They were able to up some of their staffing, right? So that just requires to go out. But we still have some needs in this where we do require them to come in and help us. The reason why they come in and do that is because our ambulance is already out on a call and that we're just not available. So ambulance billing, this gives some of the information. Like I said, we don't bill city residents over and above what their insurance pays, but their insurance reimbursement rates. Last year in 2025, we brought in $289,000 with those insurance proceeds. So that's a big number that helps us keep our ambulance service going like that. So outside of the city, when we do respond outside of the city limits, we do bill anywhere from $1,200 for an ALS call down to $450 for a very basic type call. Yeah. Fire prevention, some of the fire prevention activities that we had this past year. In VU, we have a fire extinguisher trainer that we got from an LRSB grant. That's a really popular way that we can put our show on the road and tell people, show people exactly how to use a fire extinguisher. We go to things like the Forest Festival, a lot of public ed days there. We spent a lot of time out educating the public. Public Safety Day, and we had our second annual Fire Safety Open House, and that we do that in October, and we hope to do that again this next year. Training is a big part of what we do. We have are big red trucks with a lot of tools and a lot of different things on them, so we need a lot of different types of skills. Training is a big part of being a firefighter paramedic. Each paramedic has 90 hours of continuing education that they have to complete every 3 years. In addition to that, we have the different fire training where we have requirements that we have to do. And we're also putting 2 of our newest firefighters through paramedic school right now. That paramedic school is a really large commitment. It's about an 11-month program, and outside of their classroom hours, which is 2 days a week, they have an additional 750 hours that they have to do with ride-along time, hospital time, and mentorship time there. So that's a really large commitment and time frame. They're both doing very well in school, and so we're excited to see them graduate, hopefully this August/October time frame. In that Great Lakes Burn Camp, we were able to do our 2nd annual Root Beer Float fundraiser. We had a great support from our sponsors, and even some people from the Great Lakes Burn Camp came down and helped us with this fundraiser. This past year, we raised $1,776. That was a great amount. It was a touch lighter than it was last year. Our sponsorship was up, but some of our sales were down. But we're looking forward to get that challenge next year and doing that. I got some ideas, and we're going to keep going with this. It's a good time. The firefighters volunteer their time, and they come to this for a great cause. It's a great community event. With that, our fire station got a makeover. We are rounding the corner with a lot of our exterior improvements in that. We got a little bit of site work to do around the parking lot. Hopefully by next October, that open house, we're going to say the exterior stuff is done. But last year, Borner Restoration was able to finish with the brickwork and the painting work and that, and it's shaped up, and its place is looking a lot better. There on the left there, that's our newest firefighter, Joe Wozniak. He is holding up the National Registry paperwork and that, so we got accepted into the National Register of Historic Places. We're excited for that. That also gives us an opportunity to apply for additional grants through the National Park Service with obtaining that, and we're hoping to do some of that, put it to good work, and help us maintain our beautiful building. And with that, that is my report for this past year for your Manistee Fire Department. And any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Chief, when the MMR comes in and picks up the people, do they charge, or do they do like the city does, we don't charge them to go to the hospital?
No, they get a full bill from MMR. So,
I've been asking.
yeah, when there's duplicate calls, it happened the other day, and that it's when our ambulance responds, it's only insurance bill, but if another agency has MMR or anybody else transport them, they get the full bill.
You've touched on, in the past, on this, I believe it was a high school program, like a
Cadet program?
yeah. Do you
Yeah.
have any news for us on that?
So we weren't able to do that. I wasn't able to put that together this past year. But what we did in its place is we put on, I'm going to call it a field trip for the Wexford Misaki Career Tech Center. And they were able to bus about 20 students in, and we were able to do like a day in the life of a firefighter, where we ran them through some drills, we smoked up a building, they sprayed water and did it. So it was a smaller one-day event and that, but it was quite successful. The kids had a really good time, and it's good for my personnel too, because when they're teaching, yeah, I think that's a good way to reinforce and to train the habits and stuff. Just get out about having positive interactions. A lot of being a firefighter, when you respond and the responses, you're dealing with people, they're having a bad day, right? No one wants that, right? But it's nice for the firefighters to have positive interactions with that too, so that's a great thing to manage too.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, you're welcome.
Okay, citizens' comment. This is an opportunity for citizens in attendance to comment on municipal services, activities, or areas of city involvement, limited to 5 minutes. Letters submitted to council will not be publicly read. Anybody?
I'll go. Good evening, everybody. I want to stop up and say hi and introduce myself. My name is Kim Cole. I currently serve as the sheriff down in Mason County, And last fall, I made an announcement that I was going to seek the Michigan's 32nd Senate District seat. That'll be vacated by Senator Bumstead this fall due to term limits. That district covers Muskegon, Oceana, Mason, Manistee, and Benzie counties for the most part. I am a lifelong county resident, fifth generation person to the Lakeshore. My great-great-grandfather, following the Civil War, walked the shores of Lake Michigan and settled in Summit Township, which is where the pump storage plant is now in Ludington there, where our family was a fruit farmed. And he was a lifelong public servant, served as a county commissioner, township supervisor, even did two-year terms as the county sheriff from 1899 to 1903. So my roots are deep in Lakeshore history and in this Senate district. I'm a Ludington High School grad. I know that's kind of a sore subject in Manistee, but my son did play hockey for the Manistee Chippewas when he was 4 years of varsity hockey. So graduated Ludington High School, West Shore Community College, met my wife at West Shore. We've been married 38 years. I have 2 adult children. My son is 35. He lives in Spring Lake. He is engaged to a beautiful young lady, and my daughter is 32. She recently located back to Michigan from out of state, where she's a nurse, and my son-in-law is an engineer. I have 2 grandchildren, 2 little girls. Reagan will be 4 in June, and Kennedy is a year and a half. And yes, I have 2 granddaughters, a Reagan and a Kennedy. And I will have a grandson in 2 weeks. My daughter's going to have our 3rd grandchild, and he's either going to be Lincoln, Jackson, or Grant. So we're waiting to see. Yeah, so a little bit about my time in law enforcement. Like I said, I've been with the sheriff's office for 41 years. I'm in my 4th term as sheriff. I serve on numerous boards throughout the state and nation. Some of my accomplishments, I in 2020 received the Richard H. Austin Lifetime Commitment to Traffic Safety Award for traffic safety efforts as a crash reconstructionist and as sheriff. In 2021, I was honored to receive the Terrence L. Jungle Michigan Sheriff of the Year. I was nominated by 5 fellow sheriffs for that award. That had never happened, where 5 sheriffs had nominated 1 sheriff for that award. In 2022, I was the president of the Michigan Sheriff's Association. 2023, I was appointed to the National Sheriff's Association's Board of Directors, where I serve today representing Michigan's 83 sheriffs on a national level. I serve on the Michigan Sheriff's Association's Legislative Committee. We are dealing with Lansing all the time, so I'm not really sure why I'm diving into this career, but it is what it is. Locally, I serve on the Lakeshore Children's Advocacy Center Board of Directors. I'm on the Mason County Historical Society. I serve on the CENT board, which is a multi-jurisdictional drug team board. I'm on that board. I serve on the Mason County Child Death Review team and our Leeward Initiative Drug Coalition team as well. And I formed the Mason County School Safety Planning team when I first came into office in 2013. My platform on a state level is very simple. We need to protect our law enforcement. We need to protect our first responders. We know where communities are safe, it starts with law enforcement and our first responders. So we have to take care of those folks. Currently in Lansing, there's no state senators that have any idea what a police officer or a firefighter on the street does. They don't. Yet they dictate policy through legislative action that tell law enforcement and our first responders how to behave. And we need to fix that. So I believe in safe streets, safe communities, safe schools. My time as sheriff, we have 4 school resource deputies in our schools. We didn't have any when I took office in 2013. And quite honestly, I'm convinced that at any given time, someone somewhere in Michigan is thinking about grabbing a gun and walking into a school, a church, a shopping center, a daycare center, and doing bad things. And we have to take proactive steps to address that. So yeah, that's who I am. That's what I do. And I look forward to getting to know you all better. And I'm really glad I picked this month because next month I give my annual report to our County Board of Commissioners. So Chief, thank you for giving me some pointers. So with that, thank you for your time. I appreciate all you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? You were moving, Jerry. Did you have something to say? No? Okay. Just checking. Mr. Gamble.
Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge and thank the DPW, Police Department, and Fire Department for their work yesterday. It was a it was a very treacherous situation with the winds, the downlines, it was just dangerous to be out yesterday, and so I'm just grateful and thankful for the work and that no one was injured too, so it was pretty bad yesterday. One thing to update, just Chief mentioned the animal nuisance situation we had on Maple, so with the 15 dogs, we had a 70 cat situation. One thing in that blight ordinance, we had the first reading today, we'll have the second next meeting, but with that animal nuisance condition, we're hoping to have a tool to catch this problem earlier. And the city attorney is working on a forbearance agreement with the property owner on Maple to try to bring that to a resolution. So just wanted to give council an update on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Roscoe?
I noted in the financial report, there were several capital outlay improvements on water. Maywood, Tower Mixer, Blacker Airport. I think I recall with the Blacker Airport one probably is related to, but could you kind of, I don't know if Jeff is still here.
So the Blacker Airport one's that water main installation.
Okay, that's what I thought. And then there was well 10 building improvements as well.
So the state of Michigan is encouraging us to separate at the water wells the chemicals that we use. And so we budgeted for an addition to the chemical feed building so that we can bulk store some of the chemicals, reduce some of our purchasing costs for that, and then also make it safer and make the equipment last longer. We've designed that, we've bid it out, and we got one bid that was way over budget. So right now, we're doing some value engineering and and the engineers are talking to other contractors. We're also need to step forward with the airport and request that they expand the easement so that we've got enough room to do that. So we're continuously working on that.
So these are, like the two were basically engineering fees, then? The Maywood mixer and the building improvements?
Yep.
Okay.
The Maywood mixer is, especially this time of year, in those water towers, you get cold water and you get warmer water. The mixers just continually mix that water so we don't get ice formations within the tower that causes scraping and damage to the interior painting.
Oh, okay. That's good to know, I think. And then there were two purchases, F-150s. I'm just curious what departments there were. I thought one was the DPW, but I guess I didn't realize.
Yeah, we purchased 2 pickup trucks this year.
Okay.
That were in the budget.
All right. Somehow I missed one. And then I'm surprised Bill didn't mention it, the $50,000 awarded through the Manistee County Tourism Authority's Journeys Project, so through the, what was it,
There'll be a press release on that, but yeah, that's some good news.
yeah, so it was good news. And that's it.
Mr. Grabowski?
Okay. Bill, there's signs down on the river in Maple, watch for falling bricks. Can they put nets around or are the bricks still falling? What's going on with that building?
So if you're talking about the one over, yeah, there's been a couple buildings that had that issue, and I don't know if Jerry, if you have an update on those, but I think they're attempting to fix them. It's just more of a precaution, but.
So the Mexican restaurant had a situation this winter, and we got that resolved, I think, rather quickly. I just noticed the cones and the signs. I've not been notified of that situation. I noticed it when I was driving in here today, as a matter of fact. So I'll look into it and see what's going on.
All right, that's good.
Mr. Smith?
I'm all set, thank you.
Ms. Lasky?
One thing, I just saw those 2 bills, and was it for last year or next year on the major street and local street for the $15,000 sidewalk grinding? And I think that's a good program. I'm not questioning the program because they need it and it seems to work. But are we prepaying it, or was that from the year before?
That was for the work performed this fiscal year.
Do we do that every year, Jeff, or is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So, and I put that in my annual presentation before, but when we started this program, we started on the north side, and instead of doing spot repairs all over the place, we're trying to make a sweep through the community. So we started at the north end, and we we did the sidewalk grinding, which kind of bevels out the edges, takes the trip hazards away. The slabs that are not eligible for that, then our DPW crews follow up and we do removal and replacement. We've made it south of the river and west of Maple Street and made it all the way down to 12th Street. So now we've started between Maple Street and 31 in the downtown area, and we're about up to the 2nd or 3rd Street area right now.
So it'd be like next year would be 4th and beyond, or so, or 3rd and.
We'll continue working south between 31 and Maple until we get up into Golden Acres. Then we'll reset east of the highway, down where Scooby's is, and continue working that through Maxwell Town.
Okay, yeah, that's a good program. So, yeah, and that's probably not everybody would call, but if someone had one, it might not be bad to even give a call to the DPW. Would that be okay, or?
It's difficult because we're trying to get as many of those trip hazards eliminated as we can.
Yeah,
So we're trying to we're trying to make it as
Proactive.
economical as we can.
Okay.
And kind of doing that sweep. It's going to take years and years to get through everything. But we've gotten more efficient at it, and we're probably impacting 8 to 10 times more trip hazards a year than the old way that it used to be done.
Good.
And each year, we're trying to budget a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, so it's not having a negative impact on how much streets we're paving, but we're recognizing that the sidewalks are in bad shape as well.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, consideration of a closed session pursuant to Section 8H of the Michigan Open Meetings Act to discuss a written legal opinion from the city attorney that is subject to attorney-client privilege. At this time, council can take action to proceed into closed session. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Heather, would you please take roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Lasky.
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Rezga.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you.
Okay, we're back in open session at 7:02.
Consideration of the purchase of 267 3rd Street for the purpose of demolition. At this time, council could take action to purchase 267 3rd Street and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the purchase agreement and the city manager to execute the access agreement with the Manistee County Land Bank. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Your second, Jim? Any discussion on this? Heather, would you please take roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Lasky.
Yes.
Mayor Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Rezga.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. I will take a motion to, are you guys looking at me like that? Okay. Take a motion to adjourn.
I make that motion.
Thank you. We have to take these.